Hey, Jim Walsh, thanks for spending some time. Wow, where are you right now?
I'm in Spokane, John. I'm here for the quarterly Watch GOP State Committee meeting, and we move it around the state every quarter. And this weekend, it's in Spokane.
Now, last time you were in Spokane, it wasn't such a friendly place for you, was it?
It was interesting. It was fun. It was challenging. I don't know if it was friendly or not. I don't look for friends. If you want a friend, get a dog.
There you go. Johnson said that. LBJ said that. Okay. By the way, let's bring up just quickly what happened in Spokane back in the summer. Was you decided you would have a chance to nominate for the governor, and this is part of the division that occurs in the state of Washington with Republicans. You're going to get hard right. And they had someone like Semi Bird in there. And then you're going to get others that say, listen, we got to come together. We can't be like, Buchanan back in 1980. We'll win if we have a real conservative. As a party, the Republicans need to have somebody that those that are independent or those that are open-minded or persuadable can say, listen, I trust this person. I'm not afraid of this person. Yes, they have an R at their end of the name, but they seem to have pragmatic solutions to problems, which have been our problems for a long time in the state of Washington. So your job and that of Matthew Patrick Thomas is to unite the party. How is that coming along? It's coming along better. I mean,
luckily, the other guys are handing us opportunity all over the place. You don't have to be other than conservative to be practical minded. You can be both. You can be a conservative and you can have practical solutions. And really, the other side is just as divided. They may be more divided. They're booting David Hogg out of their national party. Right now, there's a whole dumpster fire going on down in the 3rd Congressional where the left-wingers don't like the gal who's in there right now because they think she's not left-wing enough, which she kind of is, but she doesn't seem like she's that left-wing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of division all around. Some people say social media contributes to it. Some people say just the kind of splintering of culture at large contributes to it. But what we have that unites us, and this is where someone like Matthew Patrick Thomas and we're on the same page, we're in the same spot really, is things have gotten so corkscrew here in our state that all we have to be is not crazy, is not running people out of their homes, is not putting illegal immigrants ahead of regular citizens, is not applauding hardened criminals and busting them out of jail and letting them roam the streets. And we've got most of the people on our side. I mean, you got somebody like the sheriff down in Thurston County there, who's not partisan. He's not Republican. He's not Democrat. He's kind of gone viral with his objection to what some of these Inslee and Ferguson judges are doing here in this state.
Yeah, we had Sheriff Sanders on just yesterday. Jim, this seems to me that the folks that are in Olympia that ran roughshod over not only just the rules of Olympia regarding debate, when votes would be called. It seemed like they just figured, well, we can do whatever we want. It's like mom and dad went away. The teenagers decide they're going to have a house party. They had a house party, and now at this point, mom and dad come home, and the place is a mess. The cops have been called. There's beer everywhere. The place is just busted up. The house, the analogy I'm using, this is your opportunity, Mr. Walsh, because I think people, even those that were, well, I'm a little afraid of Republicans or Trump scares me or whatever, they have to have woken up to the fact that you, in Olympia, they have put some real crazies in charge. This is your chance to sweep in there because you now have a gift of $500,000 from a Linwood man that left you this in his will. He died in 2023. He left more than $500,000 to the Republican Party. This is a cash infusion. The Seattle Times talks about it. So what are you going to do with the money? And how will you get those people that are persuadable or have a D next to their name to start to look at the Republican Party?
We're going to tell the truth in the media and the social media and everywhere about that house party that's gone berserk.
Yes.
I mean, the thing about a teenager has a house party is a good teenager learns his lesson or her lesson after doing it once or twice. I'm not sure the teenagers running amok in Olympia right now are ever going to learn the lesson. So, people of Washington, we've got to be mom and dad. We've got to teach them the lesson. And we got to take away the keys to the car, and we got to ground them for a while. And that's what we're going to do the next 18 months or so. We're also going to get out the vote, John. We're going to use those resources that fella, Boonstra was his name, has given the Washington State Republicans. We're going to use those resources to get out the vote better. And that means ballot harvesting. And that means ground game, knocking on doors, going to school board meetings, going to the Rotary Club meeting, going to the Elks, going to every place there are people gathered, and just telling the truth, just saying what happened and how we can fix it. We've got a budget that doesn't raise property taxes and sales taxes and B&O taxes and every tax. Doesn't mean you have to pay more for a Discover Pass. Doesn't mean you got to pay more for a marriage license. We got a budget that just holds this. It doesn't cut much. It holds spending steady and doesn't raise taxes. What's the matter with that?
Well,
we've got a plan to, actually enforce the law.
Right, but
what do you know?
Well, once they start to feel the pinch in their wallet, and they'll wonder where and wonder why the money is going away, then you have a chance to strike. But as it is right now, this stuff's sort of floating around. People are kind of tired of it. It would seem to me, if I were to be somebody that would like to have a limited market and closed minds, if I were a progressive, I would just be constantly throwing Donald Trump in everybody's face. That will be probably one of the biggest things you have to get around.
Yeah, I mean, Trump is not popular here in Washington, but that's okay. I mean, Trump's not that unpopular either. And all the stuff they've been screaming about the tariffs and the dictator and the fascist and the crisis of the Constitution, that isn't real. You can dislike Trump if you want. That's fine. He's a controversial guy. But the stuff about tariffs, every headline you see is, well, the tariffs may cause trouble. Okay, maybe they will. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of tariffs as a trade policy tool, but they are a trade policy tool. And I mean, look at what Trump's accomplished. He got a deal with the UK that's significant. He got a deal with China that's significant. Mm-hmm. And like I've been saying, if you're going to play with fire, if you're going to use the tariff tool, and it's a hard tool to use right, you got to keep it focused either on specific industries or keep it focused in time. Use it quickly, negotiate a better deal and move on. And I think that he's done that pretty effectively. Now, you can dislike the guy. You can say you don't like his style, you don't like his way he talks, whatever. But it's really hard to make the rational case that the tariffs have been a disaster. They haven't been a disaster yet. And they've yielded some better trade deals.
Let's talk about the candidates, because it has to come down to the people that people have to vote on. So someone like John Wilson. So Wilson running in King County, 1.3 million votes come out of King County. King County basically dominates the state of Washington. As Rob McKenna once told me, you need to stand on top of the Space Needle, and every single house you see, you must get that vote or you will not win in the state of Washington. So someone like Wilson comes along. He's running against two very progressive lefties, and Wilson's polling pretty well, but again, it's one of these things where he's not raising all the money that the other two have. And again, because it's nonpartisan, but he doesn't have the support from the media. He won't have the hard left. They'll be blowing away and bashing away at him. And someone like Wilson needs to be there when it comes to the primary in August. But you've got to get people to get re-engaged again in order to be able to sort of figure out who they want to vote for. So it's important for someone like Wilson and the others that are running to be able to stop some of this. You got Chad Magendas in there as well, running in Issaquah. So the party will take the $500,000 and hopefully use it more united than have some of the crazies from the hard right come in there, right?
Well, I mean, crazies come in all flavors. They're not just from the hard right. Look, we already sent a check to Magendas. It was a little one. It was a beginning thing, but he's running for the state Senate in the Issaquah area. That's a special election happening this year, not next year. And we like Chad's chances there a lot. He's been elected from that area a couple of times, He's come close to getting elected to other positions a couple of times. He knows how to win in that area, and I think he's going to do it. And we've got the Michelle Caldier special election also, a different state Senate race happening now this fall. And we like that one too. Wilson is an interesting case. Now that's a nonpartisan race, so I got to be a little careful in what I say. But he basically does represent the base voters that are moderate to slightly conservative, so the middle to right. The other two, as you mentioned, they've raised more money, they're flashier, but they basically are drawing from the same pile, a little different. But I think it's like if you ever watch the game show Jeopardy, sometimes in Jeopardy, it's a 3-person race there. And this is a little more complicated than that, but follow my suggestion.
I'm with you.
The top two in that game, in that TV game, will sometimes beat each other up, and the one who's trailing in number 3 position can win at the end by playing the end of the game right, and the other two bash each other. I think with Wilson, you got a situation like that in that race. If the two glamorous types beat each other up for the next couple of months, Wilson, if he runs steady and strong and builds gradually, could end up being that one who wins in Final Jeopardy in the primary coming up in August.
But I have to say that sitting here, Mark or Matt would come on with us every single day. We'd spin the wheel of legislated lunacy, and it just looked like every single time we covered a story, it was the Republicans getting their hats handed to them. I mean, you guys got kicked all over the place. 450,000 Washingtonians voted for Parents' Bill of Rights. Boom, that whole thing gets completely destroyed. The idea that you can go on strike and the strikers will be paid while they're on strike, right? Healthcare, capping healthcare. I mean, these are just 3 of the things. It's lunacy. And for you guys, it just kept looking like, isn't there anyone else out there? You were getting steamrolled on almost every one of these issues. Now your only hope is that someone like Bob Ferguson, the governor, comes in there and vetoes some of this stuff. Do you think you can get some traction in the 3 that I just mentioned?
Well, the healthcare one is even worse than that. They're capping healthcare for citizens and legal residents in order to fund Apple Health for illegal immigrants. So it's worse than just capping healthcare. It's sending those dollars in the wrong direction. We're going to get traction on these issues, but it's not going to be because the governor vetoes things. I don't know that he will. I mean, if he vetoes any of the pet projects of the left, he loses his left flank, which he's not. His support among the left is an inch deep, and he's got issues. And they'll come after him just like they're coming after that gal down in the 3rd Congressional. They got no love for this guy. And that's his problem, is he's vulnerable on many fronts. He can't afford to alienate anybody. And if he vetoes any of the taxes or any of the real controversial bills, he screws up the budget. And then he's got to call a special session. And the legislature isn't super keen on him either. So I don't know what he's going to do. I don't think he's got the spine to make significant vetoes. And we've talked about this before, John, parse his words, because he does. He says, I won't sign these controversial bills. In Washington, there's no pocket veto. If he doesn't sign and he doesn't veto, it becomes law anyway. So he's going to have his hands in his pockets and he's going to be whistling past the graveyard as all this garbage passes into law. And he can say, well, I didn't sign it. Well, dude, nobody cares if you didn't sign it. If you didn't have the brass to veto the bad bills, then you're just as compliant as the worst loony left person.
So for everybody out there, how much more are we all going to be paying in taxes coming up soon?
Different estimates, depends somewhat where you live, but on average, about $4,000 a year more in different taxes. That includes property, that includes sales, and if you run a business, it's the B&O tax increase. If you don't run the business, if you work for the business, be careful, because if the business isn't making money, that B&O tax increase could push it into out of business or into Idaho. So
4,000 or more, that's a lot of joy.
It's just, they think that the left, they think it's a never-ending money tree they can shake, and they just don't get it. I mean, John, forget Econ 101, they never had Econ 1/2. They don't understand that this stuff hurts regular people. And they just don't get it. You can say it to them, and you can see it go right through their eyes and right through the back of their head into the wall behind them. They do not understand. And they've come up in an age, many of these legislators and some the governor and some of them, they've never had real pressure to explain what they believe and why. They say platitudes, they talk about, tax the rich, and they walk out of the room.
Yeah.
And they don't get that. It's the old saying, left-wing tax policy always aims at the rich and hits the middle class. And that's exactly what we've got going on right now.